Hi, my name is Robert, and welcome to Mars Unmasking the Cover-Up. If you haven't followed my videos, and this is your first time, I suggest you go to my channel on YouTube and watch The Moon is Your Worst Nightmare, and then Mars Unmasking the Cover-Up Part 1. This is Part 2. What I'm going to show you today is I'm going to start with Mars and bring in the colors and bring in some cities. There was a lot of comments for that, so I thought I would go ahead and start with that. And then I'm going to move on to a comparison from Earth and show you what's on Earth and compared to Mars. And it's just going to trip you out. What's on Earth, a lot of people don't know what's on Earth, and the Mars comparison, it's just hand in hand when it comes to that. Okay, what you're looking at right there is an old Mars photo. It's red. Well, you notice nowadays it's not as red. They're slowly starting to show us a little bit, little by little. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means a cover-up. If you think about it, well, they're slowly showing us a little bit. Okay, now, what I'm going to show here is my colors as I brought it in. Some of it's pixelated and some of it's not. But as I bring it in here, it starts to look a little more 3D. And some of it's pixelated. Like I said, the areas that are not pixelated are pretty much the proper colors. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll in here to this first crater. This first crater right here is Gallic crater. And if you notice right where my cursor is, there's an octagon shape here, where right in the middle there's a round tower. Right there, let me bring it in a little bit better for you. And well, so you can tell it's pretty much proper colors. If it comes in, that's good. Well, there's a city in here. I'm going to show you a little bit more in a minute. And let me scroll back out and go to the next crater. This next crater is called Wirtz crater. And if you look at the craters itself, you're going to notice there's always in the middle of the crater a thicker spot where those are the bigger buildings. And this one here is, I believe, is Helmholtz crater. Again, in the middle, you can see that there's more, and there's also a little crater within the big crater, which they're not really craters. If they are craters, they've built on them. Now, let me go back down here to this crater right here. Now, right where my cursor is, you look at the lower walls where it's kind of squared off. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the city and watch the lower walls. You can tell they're red and they're high-rise walls. It's surrounded by walls. And so let me scroll in. You can tell right here where my cursor is, where the walls go all the way around. They're all the way around the whole city itself. Now, taking a look at the crater in general, well, you can tell there's city everywhere in that crater, everywhere, in all the craters. And look to the middle. You see the middle there in the crater? Well, those where the main buildings are. Maybe the capital part of the city, whatever it is, where it's more secure, and it's in the middle, it's going to be more secure. And then I'm going to move on up to this here area where it's green. I didn't know this was called green until a couple of days ago when I was doing research for the video. And this here area shows a lot of sectioned out places where you can tell right then and there. Hey, it's not pixelated right there as it is up above. You can see the pixelation up above. Well, this here means that it's real. It's there. And so there you are, man. There's cities on Mars. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring in a comparison real quick. Okay, this here is Brussels. Now, part of this city of Brussels, there's a part city of Mars in there. Can you see where it is? Well, it's right up here in the corner. It's a little bit blurred, But as you can tell, as far as the comparison goes, this is the Mars area, this is Brussels area. It's real close. As far as the comparison of the city, well, I think that we have a city. Um, this is a really, really neat photo. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. This is a city in Arbil, Iraq. It's a citadel, and it's one of the oldest cities in the world that is still occupied. If you take a good look at it and the craters I showed you on Mars, take a look in the middle here where the flag is. You've got the bigger buildings. That's for security, so someone tries to climb over the walls, they have to get to the center first, just like this. There we go again. We got the high-rise walls, as you can tell, and in the middle, here in this dark area where my cursor is the security buildings, and they're all the same way. If you look at this crater again, there's the bigger buildings in the middle. This one right here, and also the one up above, which is hard to tell. I didn't really work with that a whole lot, but well, there you go. It's pretty much of a match. Now the next one, this is Cusco, Peru. The city is in shape of a puma. This is also one of the oldest cities in the world. In part one, I showed you a lot of animal shapes, and I had a lot of comments of, well, why is it an animal shape? You invented this up. It's a hoax. It's not. We have this on Earth. Okay, the photo you're viewing, I got several different variations of it because it's not so clear. This is down the street view, folks. This is what Mars looks like. See the two skulls above it, and down below there's a face, and that's a building. That's where they live. That's what they live in, not square buildings. So this is kind of for the naysayers. You can see a king up there in the canyon. Now this is true Mars. This is some of the statues and monuments from Marcoasi, Peru, and also Turkey. As you can tell, they're all very old and withered. Some have faces of aliens, and some of humans. Look how intricate these scattered stones are. It's just amazing. Did we have the artistic talent 15 or so 1,000 years ago? Weren't we just scribbling on rocks? Some of these tall monuments would be near to impossible to scale, I think, and to chip away the stone, and it would, to me, it would be kind of rough. We didn't have the technology we do now. Some faces are known to us in myths, and most we know is earth animals. Now, remember part one? It had the same type of rock art, but much, much more. I've stated many times about the picture within the picture, and as you see, it's the same thing here. Because they're so worn, I feel that they're much older than stated. There are totems just like Mars, mountains and cities are just like Mars, and the intricacy is just like Mars. Only Mars has themes with their art. Ours are scattered in and few in comparison to Mars. I haven't yet tried to compare the monuments and statues to see if I can find a match, but I'm sure I will. The faces that tower above anything else are what you see on Mars also, and I'm going to show you those in a moment. Well, now that you've seen some of the rock art images on Earth, I'm going to show you some other things found at Marcoasi, Peru. I know for a fact that this skeleton was found there by doing research, but as for the alien photos, well, none of that is fact. This image is as small as the dots on your screen. I managed to bring it in to see what it was, and what it appears to be is an alien boy holding a UFO on his lap, with his arms outstretched over the UFO, I don't know, the pet, what looks like to be a dog. Again, being that this is so small of an image, the validity is somewhat compromised. I agree with that. Now, if you Google Mars sunset, you'll come up with this here untouched image. I can see the city in there, and maybe you can, but here is an enhanced version of it. You can notice the head structure at the top, and so that's what you kind of seen on Earth. This image is named Skull Rock. Notice the lady at the bottom with her hand on her chest. You can see what bringing in the colors does for most of these images. Now, here's where it starts getting weird. There are hundreds of websites that show these rock images as being strange, but there's very few that clean them up. Note that these are not the strange images I'll be showing you later, because I got some really freaky ones that kind of, well, it freaks me out anyway. It looks like the myth of the chimera. Notice the two heads. Then above the two heads, you can see a creature with pink eyes that seems to be riding the so-called chimera. And then behind the pink-eyed rider, there seems to be another two-headed beast. The next image is what I call the shooter. Note, these are all natural colors. That's how they were brought in. It seems that the creature's holding a ray gun. As you can see, the arms are elevated in accordance to the shadows that are beneath. The creature that has the gun pointed at has a snout that curls and maybe it snaps out like a frog's tongue to grab something or to poison something, which is really very strange. Then below, of course, is the turtle. Next is a lion. As you can see, the lion's neck is broken to face the other way. A lot of people have a hard time seeing this, so I've attempted to switch the lion's head so it's easier to see, and then I'll switch back to the other images there. It appears to have a toddler with angel wings. Below the toddler, you can see its younger sister laying there. The toddler appears to be laying atop a pig. You can see the pig's head. This is my interpretation. It may not be correct, so if you see something different, please feel free to comment. The next image appears to be a pterodactyl in the sand. With a Mars cover-up that they've done, it's nearly too impossible to bring it in, but all the structure is there for it to be a pterodactyl. Now this has a Mars myth with it, and it kind of freaked me out. I thought it was kind of interesting. The two wild animals most sacred to Mars were the woodpecker and the wolf, which in the natural lore of the Romans was said always to inhabit the same foothills and woodlands. I thought that to be very strange, because that's exactly what we're looking at. Okay, now this image is an untouched image of some of the dunes on Mars. It's just zoomed in, it's totally untouched, and if you look at it, it looks like a creature with its mouth open, and you can see the eyes right there. Like I said, that's totally untouched. And also with this image, with the buttes and the mesas, this is an untouched image, just zoomed in, and you can see right there, there's some faces on there. So there's a lot of images, if you just really look at them, they're there. This one is kind of a bull of some sort. As you look at the arm, where his arm is, if you look at right above his arm, it looks like a frog. I'm not sure what that one is. It's a bull, it's a frog, it's a bullfrog, just another Mars creature. This is a curiosity photo of one of the new images. As you can see, it has a bird on the top draped over, and the wing is another creature, which I thought was kind of odd. Now this one has a lot going on. You notice throughout it, these are actually colored in. I had to color them in so you could see them. So this one here is, I don't know, you have to take a look at it and just kind of look at them yourself and see what you think what they are. There's really a lot of strange things going on in here. There's a lot more than I've colored in, what's going on, but you can see a serpent there, and it's like a totem pole of some sort, and a creature above. And the next one I thought was really interesting. This is a full feature. It's got arms, it's got legs, it's got a big head, it's got something in the mouth like a cigarette. I'm not sure, but that the cigarette thing I did not put there. It came in just like that. This one here, you can see a cave, and you can see within the cave there's like two birds. If you look at the olive color, that's a bird, and so is the orange colored. Okay, now this one is off the other one of the new curiosity photos. Rather strange to beach. It's kind of a, I don't know what kind of creature that is. That's just another one of those Mars creatures. Now the next one is, I call insect rock. It appears to be a rock, but of course it's an insect on the front. So, well, I don't know about that one. It's just what it is. Now, this one here is just really strange. It appears to be a dead person laying on the ground with his arms forward. He's got a worm coming out of his mouth with a face, and then looks like a bear that's eating his foot. I'm not sure about this image. It's the way it came out. I just thought it was totally freaky. It really, really is. Okay, this is where it starts to get weirder, but not the weirdest. Richard Hoagland said there's a war on Mars, and my research is probably correct. So you can tell there's a hole there, like an explosive hole. Now as I brought in the original color, you can see a big scattered mess, and there's just a lot of strange images within this scattered mess that doesn't make sense. Like this one right here, you can see that it's some kind of a head, a kind of a freaky head, But what's next to it is what's really freaky. It looks like a robot. It's got like two arms above it. It's got a permanent smile. You can only see one eye, maybe because the other eye is blown out. It's just, it really, really is weird to me. This was pretty freaky. And this is a close-up of it right here. Now, if you look at the bigger arrow, it looks like a pipe within a pipe there. Maybe like the inner is like a silverish color and the outer is like maybe a sort of platinum-like color. And then it's got the permanent smile. And the cap itself, you can see it's got all the colors are arranged in a row about the same color. And it looks like if you could spin off that top cap, you could pull out that top arrow-like thing and then pull off the cap. Then you could pull off the head to work on it, right? To change out the parts. I don't know, but it was just really, really weird. Okay, I showed you this image in part one, but this is the untouched version that you're seeing at the beginning, and the next one is the enhanced version. There's just so much intricacy within this bird, which is it's a blue jay. You can tell it's a blue jay. If you research blue jay, it's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. To me, this is just such a fantastic image. Okay, well, now I'm going to start with the weird stuff. The weirdest, I think, anyway. This is a meteor on Mars, and it's called Mackinac. And there's another meteor that's called Mackinac that is a different rock than this one here is, and they say they're the same rocks. And I've tried every which way to compare this, and I just can't. And it just seems so weird that they're calling it the same. So this next one, this is Mackinac also. Now, if you take and study these rocks, which I hope you do, that they're not the same, but they do have the same kind of a face on the rocks, as I'm going to show you. And you've noticed the ground around it, they're the same, pretty much the same as they tried to, but there's no way that these two rocks can be the same. Now look at the points on the left-hand side, that point, where maybe you have an eye, a nose, and a mouth. That curvature towards the bottom left would be the mouth. Now take those two rocks, and can you make those rocks be the same? I can't. There's just no way. So this is my first assumption. Now, why is it like this? Why would they call it the same rock with the same face? You can tell it has the same face on each side. Now, the next photo right here is where the first Mackinac rock is, and this here is where the second Mackinac rock is, and they just don't make sense. Now, enhanced, this rock looks totally different. Look at the middle. It looks like it has a round circle in the middle, and it has different, let's say, sections, different areas, what I'm looking at. And if you look at it up close, it almost looks like, well, and maybe it has a face or something. But there's different segments to this rock, which it does not make sense. Now, I see this in a lot of images that I've gone through. On the very, very bottom right-hand side of this rock, you see that little creature, which is up there, that little picture up to the top right. That's what it is down there. Now, the next picture is zoomed in of what it really looks like. And you can tell it looks like it has two ears and eyes and nose, and his mouth is kind of smiling. It kind of looks like a mouse or a rat. This image is from the PIA 16453, the Rock Nest area, the new Curiosity rover. Now, if you take a look at that rock right there, it looks like there's a square building there. Maybe a pipe or something coming out of that. Well, this is really strange. I mean, it's pretty decent. It's pretty clear. But there's a thing about this image. It's only 2 feet wide. Now, as I try to bring in the color here, which is possibly the colors, you notice out in front of this building and this pipe, there is a bunch of red, green, blue, yellow balls. And you notice that they're on an incline, so if the wind blew these pebbles up, how come they didn't roll back down? And how come they're in a straight line and stopped there right in front of this shrine or whatever, I'm not sure what it is at this point, but this is miniature. And it makes no sense to me, and this all stems from the meteorite. So put in your mind the meteorite and on down, as I'm kind of bringing this out to you now. Here is a wider picture of it all, and you can tell it has other things around it. Now, this is a close-up of the building. As you can tell on top of the icon there is a head of some sort. Maybe it's what those little round balls below look like. I'm not sure. At this point, it doesn't make any sense to me. You might all have to help me out with this. Here's another image. This is 4 feet wide, again from the rock nest area where that yellow arrow is pointed. It looks like there's an alien standing there in a cave. Now, the area in front, the flat area, is also where a bunch of those multicolored balls are. You can't really tell there as I brought it in, but down below on the left-hand side, it looks like a ramp or a road, and you can see a kind of a square building there up on top. None of this makes sense. It kind of looks like we were looking maybe at a mini city. There you go. There's a big picture. You can see the square building where the pipe is, and if you take a look around where the multicolored balls stop in certain areas, and I'm just not sure if the wind blew these. They sure blew them in mighty peculiar places. I just don't understand this at all. Remind you that this is a totally speculative theory. I have no idea what's going on. But here we're back at the meteorite right now, the one that's kind of sectioned out, and it's really kind of odd. If I really think it is. At the very bottom right there, you see it like a little square off the bottom of the meteorite, and which looks like a ramp coming down. Now I've got that zoomed in on the next one, and it kind of shows the shadows. If you look at the shadows below it, then you see the little square. It looks like almost like a ramp coming up. So I have no idea. This is why I'm throwing it out, and along with that is this. These are the rover digs, and if you take a really good look at that, how does the rover separate piles of sand that are all different colors? And this also is sticking out and standing straight up. Kind of looks like a monkey of some sort. Well, just standing there. This is totally untouched. This is totally untouched. This is the colors that they gave us. And then the next one here is another rover dig, which I played with the colors. The colors here were just brown and white. After I work with the colors, this comes out. So what do we got going on here? I really don't think it's a rover dig. I don't know if it's a city or not. It's just speculative. Here's another one right here. This one here is also another rover dig playing with the colors. This is what you get. Okay, y'all, this here is the photo that has kind of changed my way of thinking, and I probably is going to change the way you think too. I'm going to go ahead. This is somewhere near Endeavor, by Endeavor Crater, or in Endeavor Crater, I am not sure. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll into this thing right here in the middle. Where my cursor is, you can see like an ear, an eye, and nose, and you can see the mouth open. And if you follow it on down my cursor, it's an arm, the elbow, and it's holding on to some kind of a thing. And you can see the other arm barely too. Now, that's the first thing that got me going, because with all these rock art stuff, I've noticed this kind of thing going on, and with these white things right here, like maybe we'll call them orbs, I'm not sure. So I've been studying those, for the last year, thinking, okay, let's think of them as insects, Insects, when you hit a dirt dauber's nest or a hornet's nest, they swarm, but they'll stay by the nest, So I'm thinking, okay, if rovers disturb these things and they're out there flying around, they'll be by their nest, So I'm looking around and trying to find the swarm areas, but I know there's also several other there's only a handful on the internet with these, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to another photo, but this one that's coming up next is inverted to show you the size of these things. See, they're pretty much in generally the same size, the perfect circles are almost, so I'm still thinking orb, entity of some sort, I don't know. Let me get on to the next picture here. Here's another one of Mars, of course, and you scroll in, they're kind of far and few around here, but as you can see, they're there, this is sunset. There's no light reflecting. They can't be dust, as Mars says they're dust. And you notice right beside them also, you got light refraction in the desert, in a mirage, where it changes your vision. Well, it's pixelating. It's almost like there's energy pulsating from these things, and it's creating pixelation. So now the next one, let me scroll in here, and this is what really kind of changed my mind also. The swarms are always by the dark cracks. Okay, we have a swarm of them right there, as you can see, right by the crack. You come on over here, there's a little swarm, of course, on the left side, but right by that crack, again, there's a bunches of them. And we come on down here towards the bottom, Well, we have the same thing. So of course, this is totally speculative. I don't know what's going on, but I'm thinking at this point that I'm putting those berries and the rock art together. That's bringing it in a little bit better, but let me show you what it looks like. That's a little bit better. Now take a look at that one. I can't go in it very far, but there we are. Here we got three of them, and you got right at the mouth where the mouth is opened. Maybe these orbs live underground. Look, I'm thinking it's coming out of that mouth. And the one next to it, up above, it has a trail of some sort when the camera took it. So it was probably moving fast. Now, let me get to the next image, the final image of cleaning this thing up. Now look at this. It's just amazing. The whole, in general, it looks like hair on there almost, but it's a rock, of course. Now, you know how a dirt dauber, when it makes its little nest, they roll little balls of dirt. And you don't think, okay, so what do these entities do? They form the rocks? I don't know. This, purely speculative. But now, isn't that strange? I mean, that is just a really weird creature. Now, let me get back to the beginning here. So, I'm thinking, I need some validity, some kind of validity. So, if you're looking down here we got all the berries, and here's the area I've darkened in. Well, somehow, this is intelligently controlled of some sort. Look at the oval right there, and in the middle is the, like the craters, the biggest building in the middle. Well, we got the biggest ball in the middle there, and it looks like it's surrounded as it's maybe, securing it or whatever. This doesn't look normal. This does not look natural. It looks intelligently controlled. Then, I'm still looking for more validity, and when I noticed this is the end of the big rock that's in the middle, and right here it looks like the rock comes to a point. Then right here, this dark area is probably an eye, and then the dark area down below where these white things are coming out again might be the mouth. So we got 1, 2, and then one up there with a trail. So having two of them on one photo, to me, well, here, look at this. Here's another face right there. I just noticed that. To me, that is very odd. Is not natural. So, what do you guys think? I know this is very odd. I don't understand. Are they entities? Are they orbs? I never believed in orbs before until this right here. But I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together, and this photo right here. This is just amazing. It almost looks real. But well, that's what I think. I think that those berries on the bottom are, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But hey, I had to throw it out to you guys too. Well, I'm going to end this one here. Part 3 should be out within a month, and it's going to be all about have we been to Mars? And boy, I got some treat for you there. But I thank you guys for watching this, and I know that was trippy. I'm going to go ahead and end this here for about another minute or two of some cities and stuff like that, some extra pictures. You all have a good couple of months, and take care.